Hi, I have a story for you. The name of the story is Mr. Beetle Many Rooms. And who wrote this is Robert Magnuson. Okay, let's get started. Okay, you will hear closely of the story, and if you want some questions, say it in the comments. And please subscribe and like it. Okay, let's get started. Mr. Beetle wanted a house, so he went into the middle of a field and found one. It was a tiny plant with 5 branches. He quickly unpacked his things and made himself at home. Mr. Beetle then took a look at his house. His heart swelled with joy. As a finishing touch, he posted a sign in front of his house that read, "This house of 5 rooms belongs to Mr. Beetle. No trespassing, please." One morning, Mr. Beetle woke up to the sound of music playing. When he searched for the source of the music, Mr. Beetle found a terrible surprise. A few new branches had sprouted from the top of his house. They were rooms that had not been there before. On top of one branch sat Cricket, playing a guitar. "Get off my house!" Mr. Beetle cried. "There's no room for you here." "Please try to relax," Cricket sang. "Do listen to facts. 5 branches are yours, but the 6th one is mine. I'm only following what you wrote on your sign." Mr. Beetle knew that Cricket was right. There was nothing he could do. He wondered where these new branches came from. Why did he not see them before? That evening, he decided to wait on the topmost left to see if any new rooms would appear. Mr. Beetle waited and waited until he soon fell asleep. Mr. Beetle woke up the next day to a strange buzzing sound. He was horrified to find that he was no longer on the topmost left. A new branch had sprouted right above him. To make matters worse, the buzzing sound came from Bumblebee, who was busy moving in his furniture. "Stay away from my house!" Mr. Beetle cried. "There's no room for you here. Your sign says 5 rooms, so the rest can't be yours." Bumblebee made a fuss. "I've decided to take these upper branch floors." Okay, the next. Mr. Beetle could do nothing now that the rainy season was here, more and more rooms seemed to grow from the top of his house. When the sun came out, Mr. Beetle noticed that even the 5 branches of his house had grown thicker. "How can I stop this house from growing?" he cried. "Come rain or shine, it keeps growing." Within a few months, the house grew into a small tree. All sorts of animals came to live above Mr. Beetle's room. A firefly came, and so did a spider, 2 caterpillars, 1 mantis, a ladybug, and a fly. The time came when one could barely notice Mr. Beetle's 5 rooms. One evening, Mr. Beetle sighed. "I don't think this house is the right one for me." He reluctantly packed his book, his fork, his toy, and his water can. He carried his pillow, and he folded his bed. He stood in his empty bedroom and gave it sorry guys, it one final look. "I will miss you, my dear plant," he said. So cryful, and I'm so sad. Okay, I barely want to cry. But before Mr. Beetle could properly leave, all his neighbors leapt out of the field. They carried balloons and plants full of cake. "Surprise!" they all cheered. "Mr. Beetle, hooray! You found our home a year ago from today." Wow, Mr. Beetle is so kind. Mr. Beetle could not believe it. His neighbors picked him up and flew him to the roof and of the tree, where the most dazzling party had been prepared. Bumblebee made all the yummy dishes. He turned out to be a magnificent chef. Cricket played his guitar all through the night. "You've been a kind neighbor to let us all stay," he sang. "We hope you're not serious about going away." They then asked Mr. Beetle to give them a speech. They just want one more thing. to make our evening complete," he said. Everyone watched Mr. Beetle took out his watering can and began to water the roots of their small tree. "The one you should thank is this wonderful tree," Mr. Beetle said. "It made rooms for us all, and not just for me." So, at the end of the day, before going to sleep, each one of them hugged their wonderful tree as a good night. And that's the end of the story. Okay, we will I forgot that again. Okay, we will read the facts of the tree. What did the tree grow more? Okay, let's go start. How did Mr. Beetle's house grow? Plants do grow, as Mr. Beetle eventually realized when his home started sprouted. You know, trees are natural because when you want a new home, like you look like a Mr. Beetle, that means your house is getting bigger than I thought, because you have to look first in the plant when it's a tree or a flower. If you want a flower, that means it's not gonna grow much, but when it's a tree, that means it's growing much. And you know, the roots are really naturally in science. This is the one we read because we want to know in science. Okay, science is too easy. You need just only to read the facts and listen to your teacher. And listen to my story. And you listen. If you want to listen to the story, beetles don't know that their houses are growing much, but when there's a person's house, that means it's not growing because it's not really a house like a tree. Okay. And we're gonna see what we're gonna do next in the next video.